Hey, okay. Welcome back to the ONFORM Podcast, baby. So excited to be back. I think we were here last week, so I don't even know what I'm saying welcome back for, but very excited to do another episode of ONFORM. One of my favorite things to do is just to get on here and chat with you guys, talk football, talk about the week, talk about some of the stuff that's been going down in the Premier League. Very interesting week of results for sure. And a lot to really talk about. Who's on form, who's out of form, which teams we need to look out for as Liverpool fans, and what it looks like, obviously in the whole outlook of the league, the whole outlook of the Premier League, and things like that right now. It's a very interesting season. It's given me a lot of um, flashbacks to the season that Leicester won, right? Where everyone was just kind of bad, and Leicester just happened to be like the least bad out of everybody. And I don't think that that's us, obviously, but I do think there are some shades a little bit of that this season, right? So yeah, man, it's a very interesting season. Every time I think there's a team that catches up, right? That catches up to us and it's like, oh, we need to worry about them, whether it was Chelsea, whether it was Arsenal, and now obviously Nottingham Forest, that like kind of get a little close. They always just end up slipping up the next week. So I don't know. Maybe it's too soon to say that Liverpool are our favorites for this title. People are going to still say that. I know there's a long season ahead. I believe we have like 17 more games, right? We're on week 22 of the Premier League. So we play 38 games. So we're getting there. We're chugging along. 16 more games, right? And then I'm seeing here Dan with Liverpool chat. Sup, Roman? How we doing up the Reds? Yes, sir. Doing well, brother. Thank you so much for checking in as you always do. And if you guys haven't, go subscribe to Dan's channel. He is a more of a short form content creator, but has some really good stuff as well. So definitely check him out. Um, and then I'm seeing here Ryan. Um, excuse me. Had a sneeze coming a long time. He said, "Sup, mother's child, YNWA." I'm not sure what mother's child means, but I think that's a compliment. And you'll never walk alone, of course, brother. Of course, always and forever. And then happily, well, technically, we can be the least bad by being very good. That's true. Very true. Happily, very true. So, and so far, we have been very good. Maybe not in the way that we are kind of used to being very good, in the way that we did during that legendary season where we were just I mean, we had three forwards on 20 goals, right? That season. And Mane, Firmino, and Salah, right? How I don't know how often that happens. I mean, obviously there's the that legendary Barcelona trio. There's Cristiano Ronaldo, Benzema, Higuain, that trio as well. So it's special and it's different now, obviously, because it's not the same type of team, not the same type of dynamism. But I think we could run away with this thing, man. I really do. And then Dan said, we have 101 points left. Arsenal have 92, same as Forest. If they drop points again, they can't hit 90. Exactly. And I think this season, I actually only think it's gonna be in like the 80s that we're gonna need to win it. I'll be honest. I think it's probably gonna be in like, I think 89. I think 89, 88 is gonna do it. I think 89, 88 is gonna do it. So but we'll see. We'll definitely see. And then I'm seeing here that PSG is 1-0 up against Man City. Um, that's awesome. Hopefully, Man City get knocked out of the Champions League, man. Hopefully, they get what they deserve. Are any of their new players playing today? Do we know? I doubt it, right? Just because you don't want to throw them into the fire that quick. But that's great. I don't even know what the table looks like in the Champions League other than that we're in first. Let's see here. Let me look that up really quick. What the Champions League table looks like right now. So, and I guess we can start there, honestly. is that the table's looking pretty clean, bro. We're at number one, haven't lost or drawn a single game, right? Mother child, an expression down in Cape Town. It means brother of mine. Haha. YNWA, love your work, bro. Absolutely. Okay, there we go. Now I know that. I'm going to have to start using that. Mother's child, baby. Mother's child. I love that. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, bro. And then Man City are in danger. They are, but not in the way that, like, obviously Manchester United is in danger. I think they'll survive this whole little drought that they got going on. Obviously, they're not going to, be relegated or anything like that. And the way that they're spending, it's pretty obvious that they are not going to get those 115 charges charged against them. So I think it's pretty safe to say. But first place for us in the Champions League, 7 wins, 0 draws, 0 losses, clean as you can get. 2 goals scored against us all campaign so far. Both were, you could say, are a little lucky, right? And then Barcelona's hot on our heels, right? Who is a good team, but I don't think they're as good as us. I know a lot of people say that, Barcelona is a team that we need to look out for. Barcelona is the team that we need to look out for. And I honestly don't think so. I think if we played Barcelona right now, I think we would win that match. I don't know if that's crazy to say. I don't know if that's bold to say. But I think we win that match if we play Barcelona. I don't know. So, and I know they're good, and I know, a lot of the fans are like, Barcelona's, crazy this year, Rafinha and Yamal and all that good stuff, but it's just like, okay, I like it, but they also have a really bad defense, which we can exploit, I think. And who knows if we actually end up even playing Barcelona in that next round, right? Barcelona is insanely dangerous in attack. It's the Hansi Flick style. And they need it right now. It's kind of like when Jurgen Klopp, came in and took over Liverpool. We still had the heritage. We still were a great team historically. We just needed to be reminded of who we are. And I think Hansi Flick is doing the same thing with Barcelona, that, you guys play attacking football. Your brand is attacking football. And it's always has been, and it always will be in Barcelona. And we're going to stick to that, and we're going to lean in heavy to that. We're going to rely on you score 5, we score 6. You score 3, we score 7, right? And it's exciting, and it brings a lot of variability to the Spanish game, and no one else is playing like that in Spain. I always thought that if Klopp ever got a chance to go to Spain, he would dominate Spain. Because they just play slow. Everything's possession football, right? There's not a whole ton of athletes like that in Spain where, they're putting in 10, 15 miles in a match, right? And if you can bring in a high-intensity brand of football to Spain, I think you dominate Spain most times than not, in my personal opinion. And I think that's why Hansi Flick is having so much success. Ancelotti, that is a weakness of Ancelotti's. Anytime he played us, they got the win more times than not just because they had that Madrid secret sauce. But we were always a problem for Madrid. We were just so unlucky anytime that we would play them. So I think so, man. I think so. And then we need to win the last group game so we can say we were the first team to ever do it. I think that's what Slot wants as well. Expect that team to be really strong in the next round. And then if City become the first English club to get eliminated, that would be so poetic, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to get what they actually deserve in the 115 charges. Alejandro, what's up, brother? They also got a pretty mad keeper. That's very true. And they can't really do much about it, right? Because they're broke. And then Ryan said, my word, the mogul was epic last night. Hasn't lost pace, maybe a quarter of a second, but my word, that goal was epic. It was. That's patented Mo Salah on the break, running down the wing. That left foot curler into the bottom corner, into the top left-hand corner, patented Mo Salah. And I agree with you. Klopp would kill over there. He would. If he can instill the mentality that he instilled into Liverpool, he would run that league into the ground, bruh. Because they wouldn't be able to handle the intensity that his team would bring. the pressing that his team would bring. You know what I mean? I think the only team that would maybe challenge him over there in Spain is probably Atletico Madrid, because that's a natural counter to the way that Liverpool used to play when he would have him at full throttle. But I'd love to see that happen. I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think he may ever go to Spain unless there's like a special circumstance and something pops up to where an opportunity gets there and he feels up for it again and things like that. So I think Hansi Flick is there for the long term with Barca, at least for now. Madrid is obviously getting Xabi Alonso after Carlo Ancelotti has announced that he's left, which should be an interesting change and dynamic for Real Madrid, because they're going to play a unique brand of football once Xabi Alonso comes in. Hopefully he sticks to his guns and he continues to play that he plays the way that he's playing at Leverkusen. So it might get exciting in Spain again. But for now, Liverpool are the best team in Europe, best team in the world, and the best team in England. And I know sometimes it's like, it gets a little like, wait, don't say that. It's too soon. Nah, I'm going to say it. You know what I mean? As a Liverpool fan, I think it's time for us to just be like, you know what? We are the shit. We are the most successful Premier League team in history. We are one of the best teams in history. And we should start standing on the things that are true. And it's just the facts, right? And Slot is bringing us into an era, I think, where we could see a lot of dominance, man. We could build a legacy on here. And it all depends on how Man City rebuild, of course. But the guys that they're bringing in, they don't move me. You know what I mean? The guys that Man City are bringing in aren't moving me to where I'm like, oh, shit, we're going to need to worry about them. KDB is this would probably be his last year. Kyle Walker's obviously moving on. We don't know how good Rodri is going to be when he comes back, or even if he wants to stay at Man City when he comes back, because he may want to go to Madrid. He may want to go to Barcelona. You never know what's going to happen with Rodri. I don't think Rodri is going to be one for the long term. Haaland is obviously here to stay for years and years and years. But who else do you point to as a cornerstone piece? Foden isn't as good as he was last year. So that's what I look at all the time. I look at that all the time, right? And I'm on, can you produce what you've produced year after year after year after year after year, like Mo Salah, right? That's what puts you into the all-time great category. That's what puts you in the world-class category, for me personally, at least. Can you do that season after season after season? And I love the fact that Liverpool's board and Liverpool's management, they look at those things and they don't just go and buy willy-nilly after you've had one great season. And that's why the Marmoush signing never made sense to me. It never made sense to me. I know there was a lot of rumors. I know it made sense. I know he was the Egyptian prince. I know he was on fire like Mo. But if you look at the previous seasons that he spent, even at Frankfurt and even at Wolfsburg, which is where he was before, they weren't impressive. And Man City just spent $80 million on a player for half of a season. We're not even talking about one full season of productivity. We're talking about a half a season of productivity. I don't think that's worth it. And put it into perspective, Kaká was $67 million, right? And he was considered a flop at Madrid to a degree, right? So the caliber of player and the correlation to how much we're paying for them now, it's not lining up, bro. You got guys like Anthony demanding a $90 million price tag. Then what the fuck do you do in trying to move that contract on? What do you do in trying to move this player on who's on monster wages, who had a huge bill coming in? What do you do in those situations? And the way that the market has inflated the average player is insane. I mean, I think Dominic Solanke was $60 million. What? Like, what are teams paying for now? So I get, the worry about the lack of movement in our transfer market. But if you're paying $80 million for a forward who has had mediocre seasons literally since the beginning of his career and has had one good half season, there's a problem with the market. There's a problem with the transfer market. And I don't think more people are talking about this. And I think they need to. I think more people need to bring this up. And I think clubs are going to be less and less willing to spend that type of money. If Man City said, wait, hold on, let's look at the facts here on what Marmoush is as a player. We're not spending that much. And if that's the price tag, we're going to go look somewhere else. If they backboned it and did that instead of just like panic bought him, you could probably have got him for 50 or 45 in the summer. So I'm just like, what's going on with the market right now? He is not an 80 to 100 million. Apparently it's going to balloon up to 100 million with add-ons. He's not a $100 million forward, right? He's not a $100 million forward. Put it into perspective. He technically has cost more than Erling Haaland. And we all know Haaland's not going to, or Marmoush is not going to put up Haaland numbers. We know that for a fact. Right? So, and then Ryan said here, no doubt last 9 years proved that. Yeah, I think that Klopp is one of the GOATs. And then happily says, depends on your summer. If we sign our players, we have to if we re-sign our players, we have to recruit new ones. For sure. I think we will go and recruit new players next summer, but it's going to be for the right price. Liverpool has never been price gouged, bro. We've never done that. You could say to a degree, Darwin was one of those, right? Which was like an 80 plus 20 add-ons. But Darwin was coming off of 2 really great seasons, right? And that was more so of a Klopp signing, as we know, than a Liverpool board signing. He really wanted Darwin. And I can't wait to see the behind the scenes on that documentary that comes out on what's the truth and what's not the truth and things like that when it comes to that. All of the transfers, right? All the other ones, we're looking at Allison, we're looking at VVD. All the ones that we've actually splashed the cash on is just like, first, we obviously sold to spin. And second, they were worth the money. It was so obvious that they were worth the money, right? Before Allison came, they were calling him the Messi of goalkeepers. Before VVD came, they were saying he was special, right? Before he even got to Liverpool, they were saying there was already whispers in the league that he was the best center back in the league at Southampton. So it's not like we were just going off of just, willy-nilly type of stuff like a half a season of a success. And then Dan with Liverpool Chat said, we are officially the most watched club in the world with over 200 million social media followers. So we are definitely the biggest now, and United are awful. Damn right. Happily also said, I personally am starting to think we won't renegotiate new deals. I think FSG are looking at the wage bill, taking money out of their transfer funds, without a doubt. And I'm going to do a whole video on that. It's probably going to be releasing either tomorrow or the next day, called Merseyside Monster Returns. And I'm going to dive in to what I think's going on with Michael Edwards and some of the stuff that I've kind of come to understand, and how Michael Edwards is probably going to move this summer, why there hasn't been any signings, why we haven't re-signed some of our stars, and the mentality behind it. It's actually looking like it's more so of an FSG type of influence, American style, the way that we do football, or the way that we do American football and the way that we do NBA and things like that, and how we move, where typically there's 1 or 2 stars on the team. And if there's 3 stars on the team, 1 typically moves on within a season or 2. It's big threes do not last in American sports, right? And typically the bigger star gets the big payday, and 1 typically moves on, or 2 typically moves on, and they go and buy pieces that complement the 1 star, right? Which I think is potentially is what's happening right now. And it's made fan bases mad. It's pissed fan bases off in American sports and things like that, where they're like, why aren't we re-signing this player? Why aren't we re-signing that player? And they like to move and operate in specific ways, and especially the way that American sports are moving right now. Kansas City Chiefs is a great example, right? You had Travis Kelce. If you guys know anything about like American football and stuff like that, here it is. It's actually pretty popular in Europe. You have Travis Kelce, you have Patty Mahomes, and then you had Tyreek Hill. There was a big 3 in Kansas City, right? Tyreek Hill, I believe he wanted $100 million or something like that. The Chiefs were not giving it to him. They're a lot like Liverpool, right? Not a huge market team, but a pretty big one and successful. They weren't giving it to him. They said, go to the Dolphins. Go to the Dolphins. They're going to pay you the money that you want to get paid. We're going to stick with Kelsey and Mahomes, though. And then we're going to take the money that you want and we're going to build a better team around these two guys. And I think that's what's going to happen, man. I think that's what's going to happen with these Liverpool contracts. Instead of dropping an additional 20 million or 30 million on another Mo Salah contract, which we don't know when the fall off is going to happen. It will, right? Those are my dogs. We don't know when the fall off is going to happen, right? But it's going to happen at some point. We know for a fact that Mo Salah will drop off at one point. Father Time is undefeated. It's defeated every sport athlete in the world, right? We don't know when that's going to happen, but you are definitely going to want at least a 2-year contract. You're going to want a bump in pay raise. You're going to want $350 a week, and you're going to want a bonus if you win Ballon d'Or this year. We know that. You are going to be an expensive extension. Trent's going to look at your extension, and he's going to say, I want what Mo got last time. I want 300 too. VVD is going to look at that and say, I was in a Ballon d'Or race. I competed with Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi and almost won a Ballon d'Or with two of the greatest players of all time. I got injured and I came back and I'm better than I've ever been. I want something similar too. So you're already I know my dog does sound like a rooster, doesn't she? It's actually ridiculous. And they're gonna, all those contracts together are gonna be close. Like the extensions are gonna be in the 60, 70, and 80 million, right? So that's the thing. It's gonna be like, I know people say that's an excuse from FSG, but that's the reality of sports. That's the reality of owning a sports team, is that when you renew contracts, that's just not just money that's just floating around and that's just there waiting for contract renewals. No, it dips into the kitty of the entire organization's funds, guys. Like when you re-sign a player, that's why it's called re-sign a player. You're signing them again, right? And money goes into it. Now that the transfer fee is out of the way, players and agents, they understand that there's more money and wiggle room for me to actually get, right? So I think that's what's going to end up happening. Don't be surprised if we see Mo Salah, VVD, and Trent they don't renew contracts. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. It could potentially happen, and we could be looking at a complete rebuild of this Liverpool side, at least from a defensive and offensive perspective in the summer. And don't be surprised if Diaz goes. Don't be surprised if Konate may be looking at the exit unless he gets a captaincy, which he's been talking a lot about recently. And it's one of the only ones that's been very open about his contract, right? So I don't know. It's interesting stuff and more stuff I want to, kind of dive into, but which will be in the video. But the Merseyside Monster is back on Merseyside, bro. And he's here to ruffle some feathers. And Michael Edwards is never given a damn about what anyone thinks, whether it's fans, whether you're a coach, the legendary Jurgen Klopp. It's his way or no way. He's going to do it his way, or you're just going to have to sit back and just deal with it. You just will. And then let me get back into these comments. I think FSG have already got cut price replacements picked out 100%. Let's hope the data boys have picked out some Mo Salah clones, etc. 100%. If we don't think that Michael Edwards has already like 10, 15, 20, and $30 million replacements for all three of them, I think we don't even know who Michael Edwards is. He's got the data and analytics team going crazy, and it's no one that's been in the news, by the way. So, and then Mr. Stand Up says, what documentary? I've been out of the loop. There is a Jurgen Klopp documentary now. So they reworked it. So remember that documentary that they were supposed to be coming out with for Liverpool? It was supposed to release at the end of last season, but Jurgen ended up leaving. So they've reworked it to almost be like the Klopp era. I think that's what it's actually called. Which I'm really happy that they did. So we'll get to see more of, like, I guess they have footage from the past 9 years, which will be pretty sick to even go back and get some of the behind the scenes type of stuff on things. Obviously we won't get everything, but it should be a pretty sick documentary. If someone has the link to the trailer, put it in the chat. That trailer is sick. Put it in the chat so people can see it. But, and then Ryan says, if you look at your at our purchases, it was like Moneyball, but at the high end. That's true. If we're talking about like Allison and VVD and stuff like that, when we actually splash cash, it was Moneyball, but high end Moneyball for sure. Like, it was higher than what we typically do, but it was still like cut price deals if you look at it in the greater picture. A defender like VVD right now, I mean, how much did that one kid that City just go for? The Brazilian kid and the other kid from the Middle East. I think they were like 50 each. And Rice, I think that's what his name is, Vice, was like 40 or something like that. A VVD of a center back of VVD's caliber playing at that level would be $100 million center back right now or more. Right? What do we think about FSG wanting to buy the Boston Celtics? I heard that actually didn't materialize, and that was a fake rumor. That's what I heard, at least, that's probably not going to happen, and FSG have no interest in buying the Celtics. But it would make sense in Boston, right? We make astute buys 100% every time. The only one that I can really think of in recent history that was like, man, this wasn't a good buy, was that last window where Michael Edwards wasn't in charge, where we bought Nunes, Fabio Carvalho, and I can't remember who else was in that window, but pretty much all of them didn't really live up to the level that we wanted them to, right? And then who can be considered a main star other than Mo, VVD, and Ali? Trent was supposed to be the main man, but he's off. I think that they'll probably go for the younger guy. I think they're going to trust in Trent being evolving into the superstar that he really wants to be, right? I think they're going to lean into that, and potentially, and me and Moonlight Graham, we're talking about this in the Discord the other day. Uzbekistan, not the Middle East. Thank you, Sugarman. But we were talking about this the other day of, like, we remember that in the beginning of the season, Trent had a conversation with Slot about where his positioning was going to be when they got into the team, what his role was going to be. I can see Trent moving into attack. And I remember Slot had a follow-up interview when Connor had that huge game against Madrid and was like, Connor is going to find his way into this team one way or another, right? And obviously I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I remember Slot saying Connor's going to find his way into this team one way or another. And I think that's what's going to happen. So, and then they're just going to build from there. I can see them, believe it or not, and I know this is a crazy ass statement, but I can see them building around Nunes. I mean, the runs that he makes before this season, before, the beginning of the season where he's had a slow start or not and stuff like that, he creates the most chances out of any forward in the world at that time, right? And he's getting back to that level, right, where he's at least making runs and being dangerous. Okay, maybe he doesn't finish them all. That's fine. But if you keep supplying him service, and somebody made a really good point in the last video, is that Elliott is one of the only players that actually is constantly looking for Nunes and feeding him and Mo. Mo is forced almost to play that role when Nunes plays with him. And Mo has gone on record and said this over and over and over. He loves playing with Darwin, mainly because he forces him to be a better playmaker, because Darwin is always making runs. That hadn't been happening this season until last game, right? Where Darwin came on and he got his confidence back. So I'm really interested to see if Darwin can get the confidence back, start making dangerous runs, and start being an explosive forward again. Fuck it. You're going to miss shots. We know that. That's just your game. But make at least 10, 20, 30 runs into the box a game, and you are going to bag at least one. It's like what Jude Bellingham says, or did that interview on. He's like, I make 20 and 30 runs into the box every game. It's not luck. I'd rather get the tap in than the screamer because of all the hard work that I put into to get the tap in. And it's the same way with Darwin. I appreciate it. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. I don't know what'll end up happening with FSG and what they do this summer, but I have some theories, and those are just a few of my predictions of what I think is going to happen. And then Mr. Stand Up says, Roman, your knowledge in so many other sports helps understand the business of sports so much better. Yeah, man. I mean, I'm like one of those guys that, like, when I get free time, I don't know. I'm weird. I like to look into everything, right? And I just love just random facts and stuff. Like, I'm a massive trivia guy, so I'm like, how does business, sports business work? I'll ask ChatGPT that and those types of things. And I'll look into, this company is owned by this company. And you know what I mean? So I can go down rabbit holes on those things like all the time, bro. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Le biscuit a dago. I don't know what that means, but yeah, my dog's pretty crazy. But and then Ryan said the Dynasty Equity Group investment will help a lot in the long run, paying off debt with it. Right. Exactly. I don't think FSG is going to let go of Liverpool anytime soon. I think it's made too much money for them. I think the investment was too smart for them. It would have to take a huge offer for them to offload Liverpool, and it would have to come from someone who has a shit ton of money, obviously. And then my same thoughts somewhat says Sugarman, because all three parties have been looking and speaking on who gets what. And for us fans, we may have to have the sentimental feelings, but be logical. No right back is worth $300K a week. And it's true. And that's why I think if we do keep Trent and we build around Trent, he's not going to be a right back. He's not going to be a right back. And someone is good. And I know some people say he's not ready to be a midfielder. He's not ready to change positions. Then what position is he ready to play? Right? If he's not fantastic at what right backs do, he's not ready to be a midfielder, and he's not ready to move into attack, what does Trent do in the team? And that's why I think that Trent's like, okay, and he wants to be a Ballon d'Or winner. I don't think a right back has ever won Ballon d'Or. Those are like small hints and indications that I want a bigger role in this team. I want to be the main guy. And he can hit a ball. We know that. He can bomb them in from long range. He holds on to the ball really well. Some people may say like, he doesn't have that press resistance that you would need to be in midfield. Fine. Make him a winger. Because if we can have him there quarterbacking from the right-hand side, feeding passes in to, say, a Nunez or a Chiesa, and Connor Bradley overlapping, who's going to be the legs for him on that right-hand side, I think it works. Think of David Beckham, right? Think of David Beckham when he was playing as a wide midfielder, right? Where all he did was quarterback. And the legs behind him was Gary Neville, right? Fantastic defensively, didn't have a whole ton going forward, but gave enough, right? Think about that. We could see that happening. I don't know. And then here we got Mr. Stand-Up says, if Valencia are battling for relegation and Callagher is on the way out, how good is our new incoming goalkeeper? Valencia were leaky like mad. I still think Gigi is he was injured, by the way, Mr. Stand-Up, for a little bit. But I think he's back, and I still think Gigi is one of the best shot stoppers in La Liga. I do. And there's only so much you can do as a goalie if your defense sucks, which Valencia's does. Right? I don't think we should look too into that and that whole thing. I still think he's good. Is he Allison's level? Not yet, but mind you, the kid's 24 years old. He has at least a decade of development ahead of him as a keeper or more, right? So I don't think we need to look too into it, but in terms of shot stopping, he's one of the most naturally gifted shot stoppers that I've seen personally. Bradley is better all-around player, for sure, 100%. And we could see maybe Bradley move into a midfield role, which I think he has in him. And if you watch any of the international games that he plays in, he actually plays as a midfielder. So Sugarman says, but my thoughts are, who's after Connor with Trent? Nico is there knocking, but right after is Connor. True. And we may need to go invest into the right back position or develop another right back through the academy. Right backs are one of those positions where you don't need to spend a whole ton of money to get a good serviceable right back, right? Like, to your point, you don't pay a right back $300K because you can get right backs a lot of the times through academy work, right? A winger who is athletic and has stamina, willing to put in work and put in hard yards, can easily convert back into a right back for you. Even a DM, right? Nowadays, in the way that people deploy wide backs in the modern game, even a DM could play there if we really wanted to, right? So it doesn't make sense maybe to go and buy another right back. We do have Calvin Ramsey, who's on loan, who is still very good in my opinion and still has high potential. He's 21 years old, mind you. We also have what's his name? Lucas Stevens. Lucas Stevens is a mini Trent. If you look at some of his highlights, he's barely got any play time under Klopp and Slot, obviously, because they both sent him out on loan. But he plays a very similar game to Trent, and is played in defensive midfield for some of the games that he's played when he's out on loan. So we have a few guys in reserve that are very young. I believe Luca's like 18 or 19 years old as well. So there's some guys that we could introduce in and could be a breakout star. It totally could happen. And then Ryan said, it's been said Slot can bring the best out of Darwin, and I'd like 2 seasons to see that, especially considering his English and understanding is getting better, for sure. And you can tell that he wants to be here. He's not throwing in the towel, and he's given everything every match. I mean, even in the Lille match, even though he didn't get a goal, bro put in the most tackles. When I was watching it on the Discord and we were doing the watch along, I'm like, dude, this is like Darwin's 5th tackle. He's playing like an 8 right now, and I love to see it. So, and then Mr. Stand Up said Fabio Cannavaro was the only Ballon d'Or, but he won the World Cup as a captain for Italy. So Trent has a hill to climb to win that Ballon d'Or, right? And I believe couldn't Cannavaro also play as a DM as well, and did that a little bit during that season. So a lot of stuff would have to line up. Other players would have to be not that good in the season. Trent would probably have to win a World Cup. He'd probably have to win a Champions League, and he'd probably have to win a Premier League to be in that combo, right? So for a Ballon d'Or, or he switches positions, and his assists have to get back to those levels where he was bagging in 10, 15 assists a season, maybe break the assist record and bang in 10 goals all year. I think he could get close. If he breaks the assist record in the Premier League, he bangs in 10 goals, and he wins 2 majors, I think he can get close. I think he can get really close. Because if you look out on the horizon, there aren't too many guys that he's going to have to really compete with for Ballon d'Ors. Wirtz is there. Musiala is there. And long term, I'm talking long term, obviously Rafinha and Mo Salah are in the mix this year. But we're talking long term, right? Musiala, Wirtz, Haaland. I don't know if Mbappe will ever get back to the levels where he would be in Ballon d'Or conversation. Vinny, I guess. When he put up, it was a good season, but was it a Ballon d'Or season last year? I don't think so. So there isn't very many guys that he's going to have to, kind of compete with over the next 5 years just yet, unless somebody goes absolutely insane in terms of form. He could do it if he switches positions, right? I don't think Cafu won a Ballon d'Or. That's a good question. I'll have to check. I don't think Cafu won a Ballon d'Or. He didn't. Let me see. Let me double check. I could be wrong, but I believe Ronaldo won it instead that year. R9. Yeah. Yeah, I think R9. He was in yeah. He never got it. He never got it. I believe, yeah. So in that 1994 World Cup, I think that was that year. I think he R9 won that, no? That Ballon d'Or that year. And he was like what, 19, youngest one to ever do it. And then Ryan said hard agree on Trent viewpoint. His shots on target is insane. I mean, if you're looking at the way that he strikes a ball, he's probably the purest ball striker in the world right now. I had Sabo up there in that mix before this season. I mean, he barely shoots anymore. But if we're talking about pure ball striking, he's one of the best right now. And if we can get him into positions where he can hit him like that from long distance and that accurate, he's gonna get goals. So, and then happily says Beckham and Neville just passed it back and forward until Beckham had the room to make the killer pass. But I'm not willing to accept a one-dimensional winger. I think Trent has more dimensions to him though. People forget Trent used to be a marauding right back. He used to be an overlapping right back, and he can do that as long as his combination play with whoever's going to be the attacking midfielder, whether that's Harvey or Sabo, and Bradley is slick, which it looks good, right? And even in that last goal where he set up Nunes, he was wide, right? Pressing high and wide, and was playing 1-2s, right, with Harvey, and was able to get it over to Nunes. He has that in him. I think he's much less one-dimensional than David Beckham, and obviously much quicker than David Beckham. So, but it could be deployed in a different way. And I know people are just very used to a very dynamic winger with pace and things like that, especially in the modern game. But give me a Beckham, bro. Give me a Dimitri Payet. Give me you know what I mean? Like, give me somebody that can just give me a winger with a little bit of different sauce that's gonna make these wide backs think. You know what I'm saying? Ramsey just got sold to Harrogate Town. No, he didn't. Calvin Ramsey got sold? He did. Bro. Wait, hold on. No, he didn't. Wait. No, it's Tillamook. No, he's on on loan here right now. Ramsey's on loan here. It looks like. I don't know. Somebody will have to check that though. And then we need to look at an Andy Robertson replacement in the season or two. Robertson is starting to age and more injury prone, for sure. Which I hope it is. If you've been on the channel for the past couple weeks, I hope it's Gerald Hato because he's a 2-in-1. He can give you that center back and he can also give you that left back insanely quick too. And our academy being strong and bringing through strong talent like Harvey will go a long way in reduced wage bill. Harvey was like a semi academy product. He mainly came from Fulham's academy and moved to our academy when he was like 16, if I'm not mistaken. So, but I'll take him. And then we have to beat Salah right now. Go to Madrid and have to beat Vinny. Madrid. In England, you have to beat Jude. It's true. In terms of Trent's Ballon d'Or. But we're talking about long term in the next 2 to 3 years and stuff like that. Mm-mm. Come on, let's give the man's a thumbs up. Hell yeah. Give me a thumbs up, baby. Give me a thumbs up, baby. Give me a thumbs up. Let me pin that. Hold on. I keep forgetting to tell you guys, please like the stream. Please like the stream so this thing can grow and get bigger and stuff like that. And we can have more people in here having good conversations with us on a weekly basis. Like the stream, please. I appreciate you guys. Give me some hearts in there, baby. But yeah, Cafu never won it, but fullbacks have to be out of this world to get one. They do. He's gonna have to be unreal in order to get a Ballon d'Or, which I don't. Which with him saying that, I think he sees his future elsewhere, not in a Ballon d'Or. The year that Modric won the Ballon d'Or, paper bags were getting passed under the table because that was fixed. My word, my rooster dog. Hey. But ballot, yeah, probably with Modric. I like Modric though. I do. The only Fabio, oh my word. The only excuse me guys, only Fabio as a defender and Rodri as a DM and Modric as a box to box. Most other players are being strikers and forwards to win it. It's true. I know that. I know that for a fact. In saying that that our GOAT, Steven Gerrard, never won it, right? Thought Ramsey was out on loan. He is out on loan. I'm looking at it now. Bag of meteor balls, footballs, and some oranges at halftime. PSG doing a number on City. Let's take a look. I haven't looked at that. Where is City in the table? Oh, 3-2. Bro, they may not qualify. Yo, they may not qualify. Who do they play next? Who does City play next? Club Bruges. They'll make it. In knockouts. In knockouts, they will. And then Red Chili here. Member of the channel, by the way. Shout out to you, Red Chili. You are the man. Big up Roman in the chat. Can't stop. We'll watch from the start. Please hit that like for me. Appreciate you, Red Chili. And also, thank you again for the donation. You are amazing, brother. The fact that VVD and Konate can look for advanced passes helps the dynamic of our play. Konate to Darwin to Mo for that epic Darwin goal in the league is prime example. And Konate is getting back to those levels that we need, right? And I've always thought, and since the beginning of the season, I felt that Konate's passing has gotten better and better and better under Slot. And it's much needed rest. He's not even at 100%, he says, from that knee injury. So hopefully he gets back to those levels. And I believe Trent in right wing back position with a back three. I can see Trent being effective in the Zabi tactics, but in a regular back four, he would suffer 100%. And that's one of the reasons why I thought the Xabi Alonso appointment would have made a whole ton of sense. It definitely would have been great for Trent because he would have had less responsibility to have to get back and more space and more room to go and create. Kind of like how Jeremy Frimpong does it. I know Frimpong is more of a direct winger and kind of in those types of things. But we'll see. We'll see if Klopp does tinkering. If he's the one that they end up signing long term, I think it will be one or two. I don't think it'll be all three. I think the likelihood of all three happening is very little. I think all three leaving is more likely than all three signing at this point. And Ryan with all of the thumbs up. Appreciate you, brother. And then Mr. Stand Up says, even your dogs agrees about Modric. 100%. She's like, that's a robbery. That's a robbery. So, but yeah, man, it's been a very interesting run here in the Champions League. I'm gonna throw Liverpool in the on form for this week, the on form category for this week, based off of results in the league. I think that result at Nottingham Forest and then the result at Brentford puts us in a really great position, especially given the fact that everyone else is dropping points, right? Everyone else is struggling right now in the league. And the gap only continues to stay at 6 points and could potentially get wider, right? Once we get that game in hand back. I know there's some people that are saying, City are retooling and they could totally go back on a run. City have 38 points, guys, and we have 50. We're already 12 points clear of them. And by the time we get our game in hand back, we could potentially be 15 points clear of them. If we bottle that to Manchester City, I don't know what to tell you. The game is gone. I probably will stop watching football. No, I'm just kidding. But even then, we're still 6 points clear of Arsenal, who just can't find a way to put a good string of games together where they just win. They win matches and they don't draw. And I still think Arsenal could go on to drop more points. These next handful of games that we have personally, I feel like are much more winnable than the handful of games that Chelsea have or that Arsenal have coming up. They play Wolves next, right, in the league. And they also play Manchester City, and then they play Newcastle in the EFL Cup, which could be a confidence one that could damage the confidence. Leicester is always a tricky one. And then they play West Ham, and then they play Forest. Then they play United, who we all know always shows up for big games. Chelsea after that, then Fulham. Damn. That's a tough run, guys. They're playing Wolves, City, Newcastle, Leicester, which could be straightforward, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Man United, Chelsea, Fulham in their next handful of games. Arsenal is. We have nothing to worry about. We have nothing to worry about, guys. We have nothing to worry about when it comes to Arsenal. They will drop points. They will drop points. 100%. And City is playing like us in 2022-2023 season. We ran really good, but then we lost in a stretch to drop points. I remember that season. And then we somehow scraped top 4 in that season too, which is a huge accomplishment from Jurgen. So, and then for us, let's see what our next matches are, right? So our next match, obviously, is we got Ipswich at the weekend. Should be straightforward. We got Bournemouth after that. Also should be another straightforward game. We got PSV in between, which is one that we can let off, right? Which is one that we probably should be resting players. We got Tottenham again in the League Cup, who has been poor since they got that victory over us. Plymouth Argyle. Bruh, we just keep getting blessed. Everton, who just got a manager change and aren't going to be playing the way in our weakness, in the way that we play, that we're weak against. And then we play Wolves. Like, bruh, how do we get this run of games? Then we play City. That's going to be a tough one. I don't care what run they're on. Then we get Newcastle. That's going to be a tough one. Then we Southampton, Aston Villa, Everton again. So we're coming into, dude, I mean, it's lining up there for us to be able to bag this and have room for mistakes. It's really lining up. So I'm going with us in the on-form category for this week. I'm going to go with, let's see here. Who else could we say is a team that's on form? I ain't talked about Brighton in a while. I would say Man City, but they're losing right now. So I'm going to take everything in it. Bournemouth is another one. Dean Housen. Can we talk about Dean Housen for a little bit, bro? Bournemouth. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Bournemouth. Dean Housen is a beast, bro, and that was one that I brought up in the beginning of the season before Bournemouth signed him. I said, if we're looking for a young center back, I don't think it's Lenny Yaro. I think we should be going after Dean Housen or Gerald Haytel. I was banging on about both of those two for the longest time. Those two I thought were the highest potential center backs out of all the young center backs right now, and I was not wrong. Dean Housen is a beast, bro. And you know what's so funny? Juventus is looking for a young center back in the mold of Dean Housen, even though they just sold him. Absolutely hilarious. And then, Ryan, did anyone catch that short vid of the Greek Scouser lifting all those weights and doing a bicep girl? Good Lord. Heart and soul, please. I think that one was a fake video. I think it was a fake video. He lifted it like it was nothing. I think it was fake, though. Did you see what Bournemouth did to Newcastle? Yeah, exactly. I think I just read that. Man, you maybe? Yeah. Bournemouth plays to our strengths, which is true. Very true. And we typically get a result against Bournemouth, bro. We typically get a result against Bournemouth. So, but I'm going to put them in the on-form category for this week with us. The last team I'd put is Nottingham Forest. Let's put Nottingham Forest in there. Let's keep it real. Nottingham Forest are a good team this season. They're a good team this season. The out-of-form category, we're going to go with I'm not going to put City in on form or out of form. That's a result they should be getting despite the form that they're in right now. Out of form, we're going to put Manchester United. I think that's obvious. Um, Out of form, we're going to do Tottenham. That one's an obvious one as well. And the other team that we'll throw into the mix there, Arsenal, because they bottled their 2-0 win. Those are my three. Just for bottling sakes. In a game that Arsenal should be winning, they're drawing. Games that they should be winning, they're drawing. And that's never a good sign for a team that's trying to win the league. So those are my out of form for this week. So I think we touched a little bit on off press in there on that little rant that I did in terms of the contracts and stuff like that. Give me your guys' predictions for this weekend. What's your predictions for LFC versus Ipswich? What are we going for? What are we going for? I'm going to go with a 3-0 win for us. We're not ones to run up the score like we used to do with Jurgen Klopp. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win. I'm going to go with a Darwin Núñez goal. I'm going to go with the Mo Salah goal, Mo Salah assist, and I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say a Chiesa goal off the bench. I'm going to go 3-1, 3-0. 3-0. I think Darwin's going to get a back a goal. I think Mo's going to get a goal. And I think Mo will also get an assist. And talk about Mo Salah, 39 goals and assists for the season. Ballon d'Or. Ballon d'Or. I think he's gone and won the Ballon d'Or. Ballon d'Or. Ballon d'Or. So, and I think we're gonna wrap up stream there. We're almost close to an hour. I'm seeing here some predictions in here as well. 3-0s, 3-0s all around. 3-0s. Prediction time. I don't want to tempt fate, right? Won't be adventurous against us. Ipswich will be up for it. I think they'll be up for it. I actually do. They'll be confident coming in from last week, and I think they'll try to scalp us. So I'm gonna go with 3-0. I think we'll keep the clean sheet. Dan's going 3-1. Shit, who knows? Maybe Delap, bullies one of our center backs and bags one in. 3-1 is definitely something that I think is a possibility, but I'm gonna go with 3-1 on that one. Mo Trent and Harvey is what he's going for. I love that. So, but I appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one. You guys are amazing, and